YouTube, what is up? And I have not made a video in quite some time. And I got this new phone, which really looks stunning. Camera quality and all. But as you've seen by the title, Jak and Daxter. Let's talk about that for a second. So, going back to Jak and Daxter, the creator is Naughty Dog. And I brought it up with Canadian guy A, who's really into Spyro and Crash Bandicoot and has some good connections. Really good and intelligent guy. But I wanted to get into the whole Jak and Daxter philosophy because we've got nothing other than ports from the PlayStation 2 days. It's just long overdue. Every time Naughty Dog or PlayStation makes a post, there's always going to be a comment that says, we want Jak and Daxter to come back or bring Jak back. You know, Jak and Daxter Precursor Legacy was start of a franchise that was really good with the open world, especially for the PlayStation 2 days. There was no loading time, essentially, maybe like one or two moments where there was like a 1 to 5 second loading, and that's usually when you go through a portal. Jak 2, I would say, is probably the largest open world for the Jak and Daxter franchise, obviously, with no loading time at all. And Jak 3 was, in my opinion, probably a little bit of a rushed game. It was a good story, but there was so much between Jak 2 and Jak 3 that were left out, and I don't know if there was a lot of deleted parts to it because of the time constraints. I know there was a lot of stuff on Jak and Daxter Precursor Legacy that didn't make it into the game. So what if we put it in this category? And I'm not reading a script or anything, I'm just going off the top of my head. Naughty Dog owns Jak and Daxter, or has owned it. It was their mascot, along with Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot. Now, we've seen remasters or reimagines of Spyro the Dragon and Crash Bandicoot. We've also seen sequels. One particular company we know, Toys for Bob, who has done an amazing job at bringing these back to life, you know, from Crash Bandicoot 1 and 1, 2, and 3, and then we got Spyro the Dragon 2, 3 as well, and Crash Bandicoot 4, it's about time, and then now we're getting Spyro A Realm Beyond. All those were done by Toys for Bob. So what if Toys for Bob's next game that they were going to work on was Jak and Daxter? They're all from the Naughty Dog title. Think of it as how Spyro was done, how Crash Bandicoot was done. It's just remasters of the first trilogy games, beautiful graphics, same story. And then what if Toys for Bob decided to create a sequel? Now, we all probably know that that's a little far-fetched, that there's so much issues with the whole Jak and Daxter franchise and all that, and I've heard some things about Naughty Dog not wanting to give up that license or, use the IP or whatever, and then Sony has issues where they don't want nothing done with that because, for whatever reason, I couldn't tell you. But what if what if Toys for Bob did eventually get the license and the approval to make a remastered Jak and Daxter, the precursor Legacy, a remaster of Jak 2, a remaster of Jak 3, and then come out with Jak 4. Now, Jak X, I wouldn't say is a sequel. It's more of a spin-off. Even though it was by Naughty Dog, I would say it's more of a... It is a spin-off considered. It's not part of the timeline. They made it into a timeline, but let's just say Jak X never really existed because it's not an actual adventure game, FPS, or not an FPS, but a open world platformer. So let's just pretend Jak X and obviously the Jak and Daxter, The Lost Frontier never really existed, because Jak X was a good game for, racing. Jak and Daxter, The Lost Frontier, well, everybody's got their reviews on that. Some liked it, some didn't. I personally didn't care for it because it was kind of clunky. Controlling Jak was very stiff, it felt. And the cameras were just horrible. And I think a lot of us can agree on that. I had posted something about Jak and Daxter on my X account, and I tagged Toys for Bob. And what I had said was, under my X account, I had said, what if, or I didn't say what if, but if Toys for Bob was offered to remaster Jak and Daxter and or had the opportunity to utilize that, is that something that you would be interested in doing? And I never got a response from them, and I did tag them in it on their X account, and twice actually, and it was immediately deleted. So we can think of it this way: one of two ways. Either they don't want to get into that conversation for whatever reason. I don't know if it's legal or whatnot. Or the other option is that is their plan, but they're not going to announce or discuss it. Now, there are creators out there, other YouTube creators like Canadian Guy A, who could probably dig out more information if he wanted to. And I'm sure there's a few other people out there that also work within the Spyro community, or, that know people through Naughty Dog or Toys for Bob that could probably get a little bit of information out of that if they were to share it. But I just found it odd how, even though I had posted it on my X timeline with their tag, that they automatically deleted it. And I did it twice. So I'm thinking, obviously, Spyro A Realm Beyond, which I hope comes out in the spring of 2027. That's what they're pushing for. Maybe after that, if they don't plan on doing any add-ons or DLC or whatever, I don't know how it's going to work with that, or if it's just going to be one solid story with Spyro Realm Beyond. I'm just curious on if their next possible game is Jak and Daxter. And think of it this way. We all know that they did Crash Bandicoot. They did all of Spyro. Beautiful, beautiful games. They made it look so great. Especially Spyro. Because Crash Bandicoot and Spyro were different types of platforming games. But the adventure part was really good. People like the third-person Crash Bandicoot in a single... I honestly liked the idea of it. I never really got into Crash Bandicoot as much as I did Spyro. I would play them, but I think I enjoyed Spyro a lot more just because it is an open world essentially an open world, level based, obviously, and you had a little bit more freedom to do or go wherever you want. Now, at that time on PlayStation 1, open world really wasn't a thing. It was there, but it was very rare. And if they were to do that with Jak and Daxter, just imagine what that could be. If Toys for Bob recreated Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy, Jak 2, Jak 3, I honestly don't think the fan base would have an issue with that. A lot of people are commenting, and I've seen people commenting, posting about it on all this. We need a remaster. We need a remake or a continuation. And I like the lore of how Jak and Daxter was and how it went to Jak 2 and Jak 3. There's a lot of information missing to where how these events got to where they are today. Well, in Jak 3 compared to Jak and Daxter Precursor Legacy. There's a lot of lore missing. And people can speculate what kind of transpired based off of their research and all that. But that's just other people's thoughts or mindsets of how it all happened. So what if they remastered the first 3 Jak and Daxter games? Like I said, we're going to pretend Jak X and The Lost Frontier never existed because those are 2 different type of games. Jak X was racing, and The Lost Frontier, although the beginning part of that game was made by Naughty Dog, everything else was made by another developer. So we're just going to pretend like those 2 don't even exist in the world of Jak. So if they were to create a 4th installment, how would you feel it would be to continue where they left off of Jak 3 or whatnot? I personally feel that they should bring, and this is just my opinion, you guys might have your own opinions. I personally feel that, let's talk about the antagonists, the villains of the game. Jak and Daxter was Gul and Maya that were sunken from they're in the robot into the the dark eco silos. Jak 2's villain was Baron Praxis, but then also the Metalhead leader. And of course, you can also say Errol, but there was never really a one-on-one fight other than a race. Jak 3, of course, was Errol. And a few others. Now, I forgot to mention that Crew was also a villain in Jak 2. So we go to Jak X, and of course, Crew was brought back, even though it was death, it was just through a hologram. But Jak X brought the return of the villainous Crew, as well as I never really got into Jak X as much either. So I don't remember the other dude's name. It was the announcer eventually revealed as the big racer. And then we're not talking about the Lost Frontier. So what if Jak 4 ended up adventuring back on land, out of Haven City, but back on the land, to trying to, I guess you could say, get more Dark Eco, and they can think about the Dark Eco silos or whatever. And they open it up, and Golemaya has returned, and now they're the main villain. And I think that would be pretty cool to see Golemaya return. But also, Jak 4 could be the largest open world game ever. I mean, you can utilize everything from Jak X and maybe even The Lost Frontier and just make it all in one game. You know, you got Haven City, then you can go back to the mainland, even though it was probably destroyed by the metalheads. But even still, having access to the mainland would be pretty cool. You can check out pretty cool historical artifacts from that time. You got Spargus City, got the desert wasteland, and you have Cross City, which nobody ever explored. Cross City, nobody ever heard of it. It's just part of a race. But what if they created Cross City in the open world map to where you can explore it, but you can also there's also many other cities too that you were able to race in Jak X, but we've never seen them before in any other game. So there's a lot of possibilities for a sequel of Jak 4. But my guess is not only is it going to be a platformer, it's just going to be a continuation of Jak 3, except it's going to be bigger. Jak and Daxter was the mainland. It wasn't fully an open world, but it was an open world. It just wasn't as large. Jak 2 was a huge city where you can explore certain areas outside of city walls. Jak 3 goes beyond that. You got Spargus City and the Wasteland, and then Haven City as well, along with a few surrounding areas. And the only reason why they were able to make it that large was because half of Haven City was destroyed from the war. And that's how they were able to squeeze in Spargus City and the desert, because if you were to add all that, it would equivalent to everything Haven City had, essentially. So we had probably maybe 25-30% of Haven City as compared, in Jak 3 than we did in Jak 2. So, and Spargus City wasn't truly that big. It just made it feel that way because you're on the coastline of the ocean and whatnot. So I think Toys for Bob, in my opinion, because the comment that I had made on X, and I tagged Toys for Bob in, which they automatically deleted not even 5 minutes later, I want to say that they have something planned for, and I wouldn't say a reboot or a remake. I would say doing exactly what they did with Crash, doing exactly what they did with Spyro, and just remastering it from Jak and Daxter, the precursor Legacy, Jak 2, and Jak 3, and then maybe going on to Jak 4, for example. And I think that would be really cool. And I know they could do it. If there was an opportunity, I would imagine that they would take it, and I kind of want to say they're working on it. I can't confirm that, but based off of them deleting the comment with me tagging them in it, I want to say that they have intentions on bringing the Jak and Daxter franchise back, just like they did with Crash Bandicoot, just like they did with Spyro. So anyways, that's going to be my end of rant. And like I said, there's going to be a whole bunch of other creators out there. I only know a few, Canadian Guy A being one of them. He's really, really deep into the aspect of that. I just wanted to share my thought process on how they could continue Jak 4 and what I discovered regarding the Jak and Daxter community. So with that being said, see you then. Goodbye for now. Have a great day.